Was the Wuhan virus a bioweapon? Did China start developing this virus in 2016? Was the aim to create the deadliest coronavirus ever? Was the intention to infect as many people as possible? Was a secret program being carried out in the Wuhan lab? And was it China's deadly experiment that killed 7 million people around the world and left you and me scarred for life? Tonight, we are coming to you not just with questions, but answers. Answers that some of you may not be ready for, but answers that are required to finally start the long due process of bringing the culprits to justice. These answers are based on a detailed investigative report by the Sunday Times. One investigator told the paper, and I'm quoting, "It has become increasingly clear that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was involved in the creation, promulgation, and cover-up of the COVID-19 pandemic." Note those words: creation, promulgation, and cover-up. That is what Xi Jinping's China is being accused of. Our cover story tonight begins in the Wuhan lab, or the infamous and notorious Wuhan Institute of Virology. This report says that in the lead up to the pandemic, scientists in Wuhan were combining the world's most deadly coronaviruses. A coronavirus refers to a group of RNA viruses that can cause respiratory illness in human beings. Most of you already know this. So the question you should be asking is, what was the need for such an experiment? Was China trying to create a bioweapon? There is no ruling this out because the Wuhan scientists were not alone in the experiment. Accompanying them were Chinese military personnel in lab coats. You heard that right. What job do they have in a science lab? Unless, of course, they are working on a combined confidential bioweapon project. 5 years before the pandemic started, scientists in the Chinese military wrote a paper. That paper predicted a third world war, not any ordinary war, but one where viruses serve as bioweapons. The paper talks about coronaviruses, quote-unquote, heralding a new era of genetic weapons. And it goes on to say how these weapons can be unleashed in a way never seen before. Well, the Wuhan virus did unleash a once-in-a-lifetime crisis. And these Chinese scientists knew this because they were likely already working on weaponizing coronaviruses. Let me just read out what the Sunday Times published. Investigators who scrutinized top-secret intercepted communications and scientific research believe Chinese scientists were running a covert project of dangerous experiments which caused a leak from the Wuhan Institute of Virology and started the COVID-19 outbreak. You see, the ball was set rolling in 2003. That is when the Wuhan lab began experimenting with SARS and the origin of SARS. Soon, the lab started hunting for coronaviruses in China's many bat caves and experimenting with these dangerous viruses. None of this was safe, and the lab knew it. But its scientists justified toying with coronaviruses. How? Well, they said the risk was worth it because their work may help develop vaccines for coronaviruses. Those vaccines never came. But in the year 2016, people in Yunnan province started falling sick. They had symptoms similar to SARS. Many of these people died. The scientists realized these people were infected with a new type of coronavirus. And what did they do? They hid this critical and deadly information from people. Instead, samples from the multiple coronaviruses found in Yunnan were carried to the Wuhan lab. The report says these very viruses are now recognized as the only members of COVID-19's immediate family known to have been in existence pre-pandemic. Basically, they could possibly be viruses that mutated into COVID-19. A classified program reportedly began after Wuhan to make the virus found there more infectious to human beings. And cut to 2019, people in Wuhan started falling sick. What had happened in the lead up to the outbreak? In November 2019, researchers working in this program started falling sick with symptoms eerily similar to COVID-19. They were taken to the hospital. Soon, others in Wuhan started falling sick. People started dying. Cut to March 2020, Wuhan virus was declared a pandemic. 7 million people lost their lives. And this, by the way, is just the official number. Were they killed by China's bioweapon? Were they victims of China's dangerous craft? Does China have blood on its hands? And how long before China is made to pay for the pandemic? It's been almost 4 years, and it's time you put pressure on those in power to #MakeChinaPay. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.